Hello, Internet. My name is Craig.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the Craig and Chris Show, where we talk about everything that interests us and hopefully interests at least one or two.
There's some overlap there.
Hopefully, yeah, like a Venn diagram thing going on. Sorry, that got nerdy. Okay, today we're going to talk about something a little more controversial, which we've never really done, which is pretty much every video we do is something we've never really done.
Yes, but this is new ground for everyone, I think.
Pretty much. It's violence in video games and whether or not it causes violence in the real world. And now this means no, and I got to start this out by saying we mean no disrespect to those. I mean, obviously what happened recently is a tragedy.
Sure.
You know, and our hearts go out to those who are, involved in that. Yeah. And it's just a touchy subject for certain people. But we kind
pretty much either side is a touchy subject.
Yeah, pretty much. There's no real good way to approach it. So we mean no disrespect, I guess is all we need to say. But this issue is like becoming an issue. And that's what confuses us, I think.
Yeah.
Is that
confused
right?
is a good word.
Confused. Yeah, it's more confusing than anything else. Because I've been playing games. How long have you been playing games?
Oh, God. Whole life, pretty much.
Whole life. So, and I've been playing them for my whole life. 8 years old, whatever.
I got a Nintendo when I was 6, and my dad before that had a Commodore. So
yeah, so our whole lives, and we've pretty much followed the train of violence along the way in video games, all the way back from Mario Brothers jumping on
defenseless creatures,
to horribly defenseless creatures.
Yeah, for
points, no less, all the way up to Grand Theft Auto 5, which we just talked about.
Yes, we did.
Where we just mow down people for points.
Or just for general fun.
Or just for general fun.
A lot of those people don't even have money.
And it seems that there's some kind of a disconnect between the media and...
almost generational even.
Yeah.
I'd go that far.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
But every time a story like this comes out, and I read the article here, okay, about this guy, and he was a big hardcore gamer. Okay, so the first thing that the media did was jump in and say...
That did it.
It was the video games.
It maybe didn't do it, but it was a fact.
Yeah,
that was the reason. Scaled a little bit.
Well, they backed off after they found out the psychiatric results of. They found out that he had actually reported hearing voices in his head,
which had no effect.
Right. So I mean, but this is usually how it goes.
The voices in his head were obviously from those darn headsets the kids use.
That's got to be. Maybe it was other people on Xbox Live.
Well, if anything could drive you to kill. That's
actually probably true, but he wouldn't have gone that far.
No.
Anyways, I play video games for the complete opposite reason that these people argue is the reason video games cause violence. And I don't think we're alone with that.
No.
I mean, when I get stressed out, frustrated, I want to kill a digital person.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how I deal with my stress. It's not the opposite. It's not like I play games, I'm like, now I'm stressed out. I've got to translate this into reality.
We don't sit there playing games taking notes.
Yeah, exactly. And you'd think it'd be more prominent of an issue if it was actually an exact direct causation of violence. And maybe what they're saying is it's a contributor, like you said, in some ways. But I've read a number of studies. I still have yet to see something that actually says, yes, this person played this video game and then they emulated it directly per page.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the issue. So
yeah, one thing that always kind of bothered me was how many people. I mean, Grand Theft Auto 5 sold $1 billion in 3 days?
Yes, 3 days.
And of those people who will cause trouble is what number? How many of them are just sitting here doing a web show? How many of them are you guys sitting there? I mean, the number is ridiculous.
Right.
You take any number that huge, and someone's going to do something in a low percentage. That's just how it is.
Right, and the problem is, too, is where does it end? I mean, really, because, they all bought Grand Theft Auto, but odds are they're also all watching television, or they're watching movies.
Dexter, hello.
Dexter, I mean, they're watching movies, they're watching television, they're reading magazines.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in everything.
It is.
I mean, really, it's not like it's...
That is the point. That is another area of contention I have, and that is the video games are bad, but everything that benefits us, like movies and whatever, that gets a pass. We don't even mention movies.
You mean media? Benefits the media.
Anything else? Yeah. Right. Well, we're owned by Time Warner, who's doing the news or something. We're not going to bring up
violence in movies. Right, yeah. Don't bring up the fact that last week he watched this movie.
Yeah.
And did a review of it on his blog or whatever. That's got nothing to do with it. And really, I think a lot of it has to do with the entertainment industry or the movie industry, and just throwing this out there. I think they have a degree of jealousy with the gaming market because it was never really taken seriously as an art form up until recently, I would say.
Yeah.
And even now, they've got this, they just don't understand why people take video games seriously.
I can see that.
And I think that's a big frustration they run into with this. They just don't understand.
There's that, or I don't know, maybe it's the new rock and roll.
Could be.
Maybe it's the new moving pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, they do this every time.
It is. It's just getting frustrating, for the average gamer. Every time we see it, we're like, where do you even get that? The guy who's playing the games, we're just confused. Yeah. This controversy came up during that Mass Effect thing, remember? Where they had to interviewing a lady, and she was criticizing the heck out of the game, saying that all this bad stuff was in it. And then the guy just turns around and says, have you actually played the game? And
yeah.
And they hadn't.
She said no.
No, I wouldn't play that. And I'm like, well...
The fan base went and review bombed her.
Yeah, that's true. On Amazon.
Before there was a word for it.
So. But it's just the point of it. It's just... there's.
Well, they actually went out of their way to say, when they review bombed it, I haven't read this book, but...
Yeah.
And then she cried, that's not fair.
We love you, Internet.
And she apologized. But that's just it. You haven't played it. Why are you saying anything?
It's true. It's true.
It is just a level of not understanding the any of it.
Oh, yeah. I think people they want something to blame for a tragedy, and that's understandable. People don't want to blame the person.
Yeah.
They want to say, they want to think some outside influence had an impact on them or made them do this thing, rather than having to accept the fact that some people just, I hate to say it, want to watch the world burn. That's kind of how, it's true. Yeah. Some people just, unfortunately...
They're trying to find understanding in a tragedy.
Right, and that's...
Which sometimes
sometimes there's no good answers.
Yeah.
And people want somebody to blame. They want somebody to take the fall on it. And it's just unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree. And
we're not going to take away games and movies and all this from everybody.
There was one
because somebody who had an issue, unfortunately, did what they did. That doesn't mean everybody who does it is going to do the same thing.
What's funny is when there's something that people are, against, is how they so quickly turn against what they believe. Mm-hmm. Like, let's have a gamer registry.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense. Let's do that.
A gamer, they kind of do. It's Xbox Live.
That's true.
It's like, just do that.
That's true.
Problem solved.
They'll just go through your profile and go, we don't have to worry about him. He sucks at this game.
Oh, there you go.
Look at his multiplayer ranking. He's terrible.
Yeah, well, you got between that, Google Plus, and, if the government gets the NSA, right? They're ones in the news now.
Yes.
They get their hands on all this information, then we should worry. We may be profiled.
Yeah.
Based on this video, will probably be profiled. We're going to be red flags going up.
Yeah.
Those kids like killing people on video games. Oh, my goodness.
So, you come down on you don't think it really... do you think it has an effect at all?
And it's sad that I'm going to quote this movie, but you remember Scream?
Yes.
He said, movies do not create psychopaths. Movies make psychopaths more creative.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it has zero impact, but I think if somebody was going to commit an atrocity, they were going to do it despite their circumstances. I don't necessarily think the game itself is the causation, but it might have helped them plan it. Or it might have
I'm not even sure I'd go that far.
Well, but you get strategies and all that. But they could have read that in a book, a magazine.
They can't have it both ways. The one vision of gamers is that they're unfit sitting on their couch all day, whatever. Fair enough. But then they go, well, no, they're elite killing machines.
Well, that's true.
There might be some overlap, obviously. Like I said, any big number of people, percentage, it's a percentage game. It's stats. It's going to be a certain number of people who screw up. If you get... I got a ticket for driving. Does Grand Theft Auto make me do that?
That's why. I noticed everybody on the road is driving insane since that game came out.
People give you dirty looks when you have Grand Theft Auto.
That's what it is. It's like, that guy plays Grand Theft Auto. I can tell by how he's driving. But you're right, it's a numbers game, and that goes for everything. That's the problem. We're not just talking about movies and games and all that stuff. We're even talking about, it's even the same thing with religion. People always go out and find the kooks.
Yeah.
You know, they're in everything.
How many serial killers enjoyed milk? Probably a lot of them. How many of them breathed oxygen? I'm guessing that number's relatively high.
Probably. Maybe.
I mean, you could make any argument. I
pretty
think. I don't think that's true, and I think people often miss the appeal of the game. Yeah, I think it's less. Ooh, I just killed someone this way, and more you're laughing because I can't believe they let me do that.
Yeah. It's the ridiculousness of it.
It's because you're sitting there and you kind of get this devious look in your eye and you go, I wonder if I blew this up, what would happen?
Yeah. It's a big sandbox.
It's more testing the boundaries than anything else.
Well, actually, somebody worded it really funny. It was a girl who was talking about her boyfriend who played video games, specifically World of Warcraft. And she said, I get frustrated because my boyfriend won't hang out with me because he's in his room playing with his dolls all day. Because he's basically running around with his little rag doll and playing in the sandbox all day. I mean, that's all. It's a mature sandbox, is all it really is. I mean, that's what the context of it is.
My advice to you is buy a computer and jump in the sandbox.
That's what I'm all about. Yeah. So
couples that play together stay together. Write that down.
That's true. Me and my wife do play games together. So that's it for today's show. My name is Craig.
And I am Chris.
He is Chris.
I'm sorry.
And this is the Craig and Chris Show.
It is.
And hopefully we didn't offend you in any way, shape, or form. If you've made it this far, I doubt we did.
No, you're probably just as offended.
If they made it this far.
And what do you think, too? I mean,
I'm curious.
Do you think that because you have a stack of games that makes you a security risk to your neighbors?
Good question.
And answer that on our page so people can know who you are, where to find you.
Yeah, comment in this YouTube section. And also subscribe because it helps keep the show going, helps the show out. And that's pretty much it.
That is it.
So,
that is it. Just pass me GTA 5, please. I just want to feel it.